Hey guys, welcome to Joe Hendricks Photography. Today, I have a question from Ryan. And I'm not even going to try your last name, dude. I think it's Macier. But anyways, he says, and it's a four-part question, so I'm just going to break it down. It seems like more and more of the landscape photography community is trending toward mirrorless camera systems, such as the Sony A7, likely due to their size and weight when traveling. Where do you see the equipment used by wedding photographers heading in the next few years? That's a great question. Wedding photography, I see it going towards the cameras that provide you with the best natural light. And what I mean by that is, obviously any camera is going to do fine during the day, but at night when you're at the reception, there's a huge trend going over to doing natural light pictures at receptions. Now that we have cameras like the D750, that Sony A7R, and a couple others, I mean, like, the possibilities of getting amazing pictures during the reception with the natural light are great. And you know, brides want that because they spend all this money on lighting and decorations and everything, and then photographers go in and they blow it out with their flashes. So they don't get to really see the atmosphere and exactly like it was. But a lot of brides want to have the feel of everything they paid all that money for. So I see the future of wedding photography going to those cameras that are able to provide you with low light capabilities, and that's why I got the D750. You know, I never shoot ceremonies with a flash unless I absolutely have to. And there have been times with the D3S and D4 where I've shot at 12,800 ISO at a 30th of a second while people are walking down the aisle. And they turned out great. It helps to have a vibration reduction lens at those times. But it turned out great. And flashes just take away from everything. And so that's where I see the future of wedding photography going as far as gear. Is those cameras, whether they are mirrorless or whatever. Now, I know everybody would prefer a mirrorless camera because it's not going to click. And to be able to get real close to somebody during a ceremony and be able to go and not hear anything, that would be amazing. Yeah, I would totally go with a system like that. But I'm a Nikon fan. I don't see myself switching to Sony anytime soon. And I know that all the other camera companies are going to eventually catch up with that. So that'll happen. Next question is, would you rather have smaller file sizes for editing, or do you ever find the need for massive photos like the D810? Yeah, I would rather have 24 and below. I've edited the 24 megapixels on the D750. They work great. The D12, D3S, and D4, 12 megabytes and 16 megabytes have always worked great. Never had a problem with it, but I also crop in the camera. So the shot that I take in the camera is what you see at the end, except for like a little tilting factor. But that's it. Now, I've had a wedding photographer tell me before that they shoot everything horizontal and then they crop their verticals out of that. Well, for somebody like that, a D810 would definitely be a great choice because you need the megapixels to make up for not tilting the camera like this. That's all you gotta do. Like that. The next question is, do you carry a lot of lenses to a wedding to make sure you have everything, or do you like to keep it simple and have your couple go-to lenses you carry? I can't wait today. I'm a little under the weather. Good question. You know, the more I shoot, I've been shooting for about 6 years now, full time. And the more I shoot, the less gear I bring. I used to bring a monstrosity of stuff with me. Studio lights, lenses, you name it. I had like 3 camera bodies or something. But now I have my 2 camera bodies for backup. And I have a 24 to 70, 7200, and a 14 to 24. So I have the whole range covered, but I'm kind of slowly getting away from that. I'm going to sell my 24 to 70 and just stick with a 35 millimeter because it's less gear. And I am personally trying to bring less and less gear every single time. I would love to eventually be a 35 millimeter and maybe one other lens on another camera or something like that. I would love just 2 lenses at a wedding, if possible. Now, I know photographers that do that. Fer Waristi does that. He has a 35 millimeter and an 85 millimeter, and he's one of the world's best photographers. And what I'm starting to realize is that the less gear you have, the more time you can spend with your couples. So if you don't have a big camera bag to carry around and you just have 2 cameras strapped on you, you're spending all your time with that couple talking to them. And if your lenses aren't 200 millimeters and they're a lot less, well, then you're closer to your subject. So now you're taking great pictures and you're talking to them at the same time. Now, I love my 70-200 and I love the compression that it gives, but I am slowly leaning towards just a couple of lenses and being closer to my subjects. And I'm finding with this 35 millimeter that it's actually really easy to crop the photos the way I want. I use a human zoom. I'm sure you've heard of that, where you just walk up to somebody instead of zooming in. But I've been a big component for zoom lenses for a long time. And, and I'm starting to slowly shift my way of thinking, so nothing is ever set in stone. So yeah, I do carry a lot of lenses. Do you bring a tripod to weddings? Yes, definitely. I do light painting. So with light painting, you have to have a tripod. I bring this really big, heavy Manfrotto sucker. It's like weightlifting, this thing. It's so heavy. And I only use it for light painting, and when I get bored at receptions and I go around the whole entire reception shooting 14 millimeter long shots, long exposures, just to show the whole atmosphere. That's the only time I ever use it. Now, I do have a monopod that's carbon fiber that's really, really light, and my assistant always has that with them. And they will use it for off-camera lighting, which I do a lot of. And it's so simple, and it's easy for them to carry, and gives them something to do. So I would say I would love to have a small tripod that's really light in the future, but right now, that works fine. So I'm not really worried about it. I hope I answered all your questions, Ryan. And sorry if I mutilated your last name. I hope I got it right. But I looked at your website. You have great stuff. I'm going to link to it below. And that's my thank you for asking the question. And if anybody else has any other questions, email me at joe@joehendricks.com. And I will love to answer them if I can. All right. Y'all take care. And pray that I feel better.